Hey everybody, it is a cool gray day out there today, which makes it a great day to be cooking in the kitchen, which is exactly what I've been doing today. I actually have some of my pumpkin cookies cooling on the stovetop here. Looking forward to getting to those after the cooking class is over. But today we're going to be making a pumpkin chili, which is a great food. Chili is so nice and warming. It's a great food for a day like today. Not only that, but I get to use up some of my pumpkins that I have here in the house. So today I'm actually going to be using a puree pumpkin that I made in my Instant Pot, and I've attached the link for you in the comment section so that you can take a look at that and see what that's like. I have the recipe there. Really simple. It makes getting a pumpkin puree really easy. The other alternative is to use some from the can. No problem with that, right? So let's get started. First of all, what I want to do is this chili uses turkey. You could use ground beef if you'd like. I actually have some ground turkey from my CSA. I have a meat CSA, and I had some of this turkey, and I thought, oh, what a great way to use it. And I'm just going to open up the package. This is a very cleanly prepared ground turkey that I want to add some olive oil in. I've heated up my Instant Pot here. I put it on the saute function. I'm going to add a little bit of olive oil. I can see that the pot is really nice and hot, which is good. You want to heat up your pot, then you want to heat up your oil whenever you are sauteing foods. So I'm going to add in this ground beef. It was frozen. I thawed it out in the refrigerator overnight. All right. Wash my hands. All right. I'm going to give that a little bit of a stir. I'm going to let that brown for a little bit. And while that is happening, I am going to prep the other ingredients for the chili. I'm going to be using an onion, red pepper, a couple of carrots, and 3 cloves of garlic. Actually, I like 4. These are 3 big ones, so I figured that was about the equivalent, the same. So I'm going to be prepping these veggies while my turkey is cooking. I like to make my chili with a lot of vegetables in it. As you know me, you know that I am always talking about adding color, which is why I went with the red pepper, just to add a little bit more color in there. Every color indicates a different nutrient that vegetable is giving me. So, you notice I cut off the top and bottom of my pepper. It's the way I like to chop it up. And then I cut my pepper in half, so I have a section like this. I usually tend to take the white portions off. I cut them into little julienne shapes and then cut across again. I'm making them about 1/2 inch dice. I'm going to give my meat a stir here. What's nice about the Instant Pot is you can do browning and sauteing in it and then do your pressure cooking or your slow cooking later on, all in one pot. So one of the reasons why I like using the Instant Pot. In this case, what we're going to do is I'm going to be browning all of the ingredients and getting them done as if for a traditional stovetop way of cooking the chili. And then what I'm going to do is I'm just going to finish it off in the Instant Pot, which makes it a little bit faster, but makes it very easy for any one of you who just have a regular pot on the stove. You just can slow cook it for an hour or so, and you'll get the same results. So I cut up my red pepper. I'm a little concerned here because I'm seeing a rotating wheel. I'm hoping that we're being recorded. It's always disappointing. You never quite know what you're going to get when you go live. So I am just taking the skin off of my onion here. Taking a little bit longer than I usually like to do this, but again, it's live, right? Go with the flow. All right, also looks like I might have a section here of the onion I am not happy with. Looks like it's just turned a little bit brown. Sometimes I get that with, I don't know if you can see, there's like a layer of brown in through there, which in this case is just a layer of the outer skin. Somehow wasn't on, somehow got inside rather than stayed outside. So I just got rid of that. And I will use that to add to my compost or add to my vegetable ends that I use for my soup stock. So I'm just going to do a rough cut of my onion here, probably about the same size pieces as my red pepper. There we go. Very good. So now I have my red pepper cut and I have my onion cut. Here's another one of those brown pieces that somehow snuck into the middle of that onion. All right. I'm just going to break up the chunks that might still be in the meat here. I want it to be like a nice crumble. Okay. And now I can get back to the rest of my vegetables. So I have my onions here, I have my red pepper here, just going to push them out of the side. Now I have my carrot. So I actually have 2 carrots in this. All right, I did chop up 1 carrot already, just in the interest of time. These are kind of big carrots, so I'm going to cut them down in half, like so, and then I might quarter them. So cut those halves again. So I have something that looks like this. And then I will chop that, and again, they will be about the same size as what I was chopping my onion and my red pepper. So they're all kind of a consistent size. All right, cut up. So carrots are a great source of vitamin C and vitamin A, which are very healthy for us. Vitamin A helps with our immune system, as does vitamin C. But vitamin A is also very good for our eyesight. So very good for our eyes. Helps in protecting macular degeneration. All right. So I can see that my meat is cooked pretty well right now. I'm going to grab a bowl and just transfer that out. Go and set it aside for a minute, and I'll show it to you in a minute. You'll be able to see what it looks like. I'm going to add a little bit more olive oil. I would say in total I'm using maybe about 1 to 2 tablespoons maybe. Here's my meat that is being cooked, that's cooked. I'm going to set that aside. I cook it until I no longer see pink, and that's how I know that it's ready. So while the oil's heating up, I can actually hear it that it's already heated up. I'm going to add in my onions. I'm going to add in my carrots too. They take a little bit longer to cook than the red pepper, so I like to add those in early. And while those are sauteing, I will work on my onions. So you can see this is a way of prepping that works really well because I have things cooking while I'm prepping the vegetables. Here's the other carrots that I had done earlier on. So I'm going to add those in as well. All right, give it a stir. And I'll let those cook for a little while. I love adding carrots to a chili. It adds a little bit of sweetness. The red pepper as well is a little bit sweet. I find it goes really nicely with the spiciness of the chili. So while that's going on, remember I have my cloves of garlic here. You know me, I like to smash my garlic cloves. It makes it so easy to take that papery cover right off. Falls right off when you're doing that. All right. This is always the exception to the rule, like this one that didn't want to give up its outer covering, in which case I just chopped it in half and I can take it off as well. All right. So let me get my last clove. The other thing that's nice about smashing the garlic first is it starts breaking it up so there's less chopping that's involved. Now, of course, you can also use a garlic mincer that just will press, a garlic press that will mince the garlic cloves as well. For now, I'm just going to give this a good chop. I'm not going to really worry about mincing it too much because we're just going to be cooking it up. But as you can see, I just keep going back and forth over it. You can even smash it again if you want to get those pieces to break down a little bit. There we go. I'll show you a little bit about how this looks. So you can see it's a rough cut. All right, let me give my carrots and onions a stir. Oh, my eyes are tearing from between the garlic and the carrots here. I mean the onions here. All right. The carrots now and the onions are just sweating. And because I'm going to be cooking this longer in the Instant Pot, I don't need to wait until they're all the way cooked through. So this is probably a good point. I will add in my red pepper. And my garlic. A good bit of garlic in there, but it will all cook down and blend into the dish. All right, let me just wipe my chopping block here a little bit, clear things off. I always like to have a nice clean cloth near me when I'm cooking, just so I could do things like that. All right, now what we want to do is add all of those fun chili flavors. So first things first, we want to grab some chili powder. I'm going to add a tablespoon of chili powder to the mix. And what's really fun with this dish is adding a little bit of cocoa powder. Yeah, so this adds a fun kind of different flavor. Typically I have cacao, which is just raw cocoa. I didn't have any of that in the house right now. Used it all up. So I have a little bit of cocoa powder here that keeps it back up. So that's what we're using. So I added in my cocoa. I added in my chili. Now I added a tablespoon each of those. Now I'm going to add in some allspice. If you don't have allspice, nutmeg works as well, but I find that allspice has just a more interesting flavor. It's a little bit sweeter than the nutmeg, but they can almost be used interchangeably. Added the allspice. I'm going to add some cinnamon now. Let me add some paprika first because I have about the same amount of paprika. So that was a 1/4 teaspoon of the allspice. I'm going to add in a 1/4 teaspoon of my paprika. Now, and this is just the regular sweet paprika. It's not the hot paprika. I'm going to add in some cinnamon now. I'm going to add in a teaspoon of cinnamon. All right. So you can see there's a nice variety of flavors going into this dish. Teaspoon of that, and then a teaspoon of cumin, one of my favorite spices. All right. All right. So there's the lineup of our spices. We're going to add in another 1/2 teaspoon of salt. Okay. Oh, got that going. Let me give this a stir so it doesn't burn on me. It's already starting to get brown at the bottom. You know, if that happens while you're cooking, a great thing to do is just to add a little bit of water. And that will loosen up the bits from the bottom. That's exactly what I just did. There you go. And it'll slow down that browning process. Give those vegetables a chance to cook before they burn. And we'll give ourselves about 1/8 of a teaspoon of ground pepper. All right, yum. Oh, this smells so good. I wish you could smell it. All right. Okay. All right. So, we've got all of our spices in there. We've got our vegetables in there, all except the pumpkin, right? Let me put in a little bit of broth. So I have some homemade chicken broth here, about 2 cups. I'm going to add that right in. And now I get to add in my pumpkin. So I want to show you what it looks like. So this is the pumpkin that I made. It's not pureed per se. It's still chunky, but I kind of like it that way. And it will fall apart some when you're cooking it in the chili. In fact, it falls apart pretty easily at this point because it's well cooked. So I'm adding that in. This was the equivalent of a 1/2 of one of these pie pumpkins. If you are cooking pumpkin, the little ones are the sweet ones, so good to know. But you know, don't be limited by just an orange pumpkin. You can cook up something like this. This is a carnival squash. This has a wonderful sweet flavor. I love these. I usually do them roasted from the oven, but you could also do the recipe for the pumpkin puree you could use for these as well. be experimenting. You know, try different flavors. There's white pumpkins. They all have a very different flavor. And remember what I was saying about color? They all have a different color profile, which means that they're giving us different vitamins, minerals, and antioxidants. Antioxidants are those things that actually help anti-age us. They keep us young. They neutralize the damaging effect of free radicals that are in the body, keeping us young, keeping us energetic. And you know what? They don't have calories either. Go figure. All good for us. And they come packaged in mostly fruits and vegetables. So, keep an eye out, vary your colors. All right, let me add back in now my meat that I cooked earlier, the turkey. You could use ground chicken for this as well, and as I said, you could use ground beef. Just make sure that when you are using meats that you're buying the highest quality that you can afford. One way to do that is to join a CSA, like I was saying. I belong to Butcher Box, and get my meats that way. And they let you select the different cuts that they send you. And I have it coming every 3 months. So for me, that's perfect, perfect, perfect. All right, so this is now cooking. I'm going to turn this off. Now, if you were doing this on the stovetop, I would say turn it down to low, put a lid on it, and let it slow simmer for about an hour. Since I'm doing this in the Instant Pot, I'm going to put on my lid. Now, Instant Pot is nothing more than an old, a nice, actually, new technology for an old tool, which is the pressure cooker. So, I don't know if you can see. Oh, almost forgot. I'm glad I picked up one last ingredient, which is very important, my tomatoes. So, I have a can here of some organic diced fire roasted tomatoes. I couldn't find them, with supply chain issues. Our grocery store didn't have the plain fire roasted tomatoes, so I ended up getting the fire roasted tomatoes that have some roasted chilies in them. So it's going to give it a little bit more kick. So maybe I should have reduced chili powder. Maybe not. We'll see how it comes out. I'll let you know. But I almost forgot to add it all together. That would not have been good. Now, if you don't have the fire roasted, that's fine. I have made this dish with just the regular diced tomatoes. Comes out wonderful. All right, let me mix that up. Oh, very good. All right, now we can close the lid. So I'm going to lock my lid. Make sure that the pressure valve is closed. I'm turning off my saute function. I'm going to turn on to pressure cook, and I'm going to pressure cook it for 10 minutes. Just 10 minutes, that's it. I'm on high mode. That's it. We're done. Now you have your chili cooking and ready for dinner. It's a great way to have a meal ahead of time. You could double this batch up. This batch makes 4 servings. You could double it up if you'd like for 8 and freeze half of it right away so that it's ready for you when you're not ready to be cooking. So what does it look like? All right, let me grab my bowl. I have taken out from, I made it beforehand, of course. So here is our finished chili. All right, I'm gonna take a little taste. Yum. Now, this is naked. So, I have some suggestions for you. If you would like, These are all fun things that you can do to top your chili. You could add cilantro. You can add parsley sprinkled on top. One thing that I love to do is add a few slices of avocado. So, just slice this avocado up real quickly. Now, let me move our spices out of the way so you can see a little bit more what I'm doing. I'm going to move that bowl to the side. So this is my avocado. I just sliced it around lengthwise. I give it a twist, and there it is. Now, what I'm going to do is just make slices. So I'm just going to take my end and my knife, and I always use a butter knife. I do not use a sharp knife because that's one sure way to cut your hand. So I'm just going to cut some ribbons of the avocado. Let me grab a plate to put them on. And I'm going to take a big spoon, a tablespoon, and then just scoop out my slices. Look at that. Simple, easy peasy. And invert them on my dish. All right. And now, just want to separate these slices so you can see them. You can see I have my avocado slices. I'm just going to put a few of those on top of my chili. And to that, I'm going to add a little bit of cashew sour cream. All right. You can make this using just cashews and water, a little bit of lemon juice, a little bit of salt, and it really makes a satisfying cream. You can check out my website. I have the recipe on there under cashew creams. The other thing too that you might want to try is you can see the very last ends of my salsa verde from my tomatillos in my garden. Tastes great on it. So I think I also have that recipe on my website as well. So you might want to take a look there. All right, so I just heard my Instant Pot. It is on. It is coming up to pressure. It will take probably about 3 or 4 minutes to come up to pressure. I'm gonna have it on 10 minutes. When it's done, I can do a quick release of it, or I can just let it sit and come to temp pressure naturally. If you're in a hurry, like usually I am, I do a quick release on it. And you have a wonderful meal ready for you. So, while I was talking here, the sun came out, so maybe it'd be a good idea to get outside and enjoy some of that sunshine while we have it. But in the meantime, I will see you next week with another healthy anti-aging, anti-inflammatory recipe for you to try. If you try this recipe, please let me know. I would love to hear from you. Just leave a comment in the comment box. Check out my website, eveyschweig.com, or migrate over to my YouTube channel where you will find all of my cooking classes, and you can search for them by title if you'd like. All right, I will see you next week. Happy cooking.